dramatic showdown in Los Angeles. A senator handcuffed. Hi, everyone. I'm Casey Hunt. Welcome to the arena. At this hour, we're getting new details.
Welcome to the darkest truth in America in 2025. At 4:32 a.m., while Los Angeles was still cloaked in fog, hundreds of DEAFB, I, and SWAT agents launched a simultaneous operation seizing 3.4 tons of drugs and exposing a $410 million money laundering network. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Evidence stored on 2 cold hard drives pointed directly to the heart of power in California. Governor Cortez was revealed to be the director of the Sinaloa Cartel's empire in the United States. How did an entire state become the playground of a cartel? This video will take you deep into the Solaris nightmare. Don't miss it. The Department of Justice, in collaboration with all relevant law enforcement agencies, has reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to dismantling this vast transnational criminal organization in its entirety. Their goal is clear: to apprehend each dangerous criminal involved and ensure they are locked away to protect our nation from any threat. The massive quantities of drugs seized today will never again have the chance to destroy another life or tear apart another family. At precisely 4:32 a.m. in Los Angeles, California, law enforcement successfully seized 3.4 tons of narcotics and uncovered a $410 million money laundering operation. Shockingly, the governor of the state was discovered to be running the Sinaloa Cartel's transportation network, with 112 state-level officials completely compromised and bought off. This is the largest political infiltration by a cartel ever uncovered on U.S. soil in history. At 4:32 a.m., while the cold ocean fog still enveloped Los Angeles, the first flashbang grenade shattered the silence, signaling the start of a coordinated operation between the DEA, FBI, and ICE. They simultaneously raided 7 underground casinos, 11 cartel bars, 3 fake massage parlors, and 4 massive warehouses stretching from downtown to Riverside. Black-clad agents moved like shadows through alleys and back doors. Inside a casino hidden in Koreatown, slot machines erupted in chaos and poker chips flew like bullets. 5 couriers, each clutching duffel bags packed with cash and drugs, made a desperate dash for the emergency exit, but were met with swift justice slammed face first into the icy concrete amidst the thick fog. The city's pulsing neon lights went dark, overtaken by the roar of federal justice. In just 40 minutes, 168 suspects were completely subdued. Under the VIP lights, trays of blue fentanyl glittered like deadly jewels. Agents seized $19.4 million in cash, 320 kilograms of cocaine, 1.2 tons of methamphetamine, and 840,000 fentanyl pills disguised as prescription drugs enough to decimate an entire major city. But the true shock came when agents uncovered what was hidden beneath the wooden floor of a private gambling room: 2 encrypted hard drives sealed inside steel boxes. These hard drives didn't just point to the Sinaloa Cartel, they led straight into the heart of darkness within California's government. As those steel boxes were hauled out of the Koreatown casino through the fog, no one could have predicted how they would change the fate of an entire state. At 6:12 a.m., the FBI Los Angeles Cyber Forensics Lab descended into tense silence as the final software cracked open the first hard drive. What appeared on the screen was no ordinary drug ledger, it was a colossal network codenamed Solaris. 36 shell companies, 51 offshore accounts, 14 restaurant chains, and 5 paper-only charities, all part of a carefully orchestrated operation. $410 million had been laundered seamlessly across 4 countries and 3 continents with surgical precision. As the cold glow of the monitors illuminated the room, the entire team realized they hadn't just dismantled a cartel pipeline, they had uncovered the darkest financial artery of California itself. The most horrifying revelation was buried deep within the hidden digital signatures. Every money transfer order, every secret approval carried the digital fingerprint of Governor Alex Cortez himself. His private encryption key appeared on 319 classified transactions, opening direct backdoors straight to Sinaloa. While the public listened to his speeches about justice and reform, he was the mastermind, the commanding force behind the most sophisticated cartel network ever built on American soil. From the polished podium to the ice-cold hard drives beneath the casino floor, one man had transformed the entire state of California into the personal playground of transnational crime. Deeper analysis revealed a chilling truth. 112 containers labeled electronic equipment that had been shipped from Tijuana into Long Beach were actually packed with precursor chemicals, while 27 so-called humanitarian shipments turned out to be trucks hauling tons of forbidden cargo. The payment ledger exposed a shadow police force, 63 California Highway Patrol officers, 19 border agents, and dozens of supervisors on Solaris's full-time payroll, not just receiving sporadic bribes, but drawing fixed monthly salaries. They were the cartel's second army, loyal to no one but them. By 7 a.m. in the FBI war room, it became clear to everyone this was no longer just corruption. This was state capture. Project Solaris was Governor Cortez's master plan to transform California into Sinaloa's West Coast empire. At exactly 5 o'clock a.m., the Sacramento Command Center was bathed in light. On the digital map, 74 red dots stretched from Los Angeles to Fresno, each one representing a key node in the bloodstream of Solaris, the empire Governor Alex Cortez had built for Sinaloa. There were no negotiations, no warnings, only one order echoed across the room. Wipe it out. 1,200 federal agents, 41 SWAT teams, 22 Blackhawks, and 9 MRAP armored vehicles moved out simultaneously. This was no longer just an operation, it was a statewide purge. Before dawn broke, California didn't wake to news, it woke to the sound of gunfire and the thunder of helicopters. Solaris was about to be dismantled piece by piece along with the man who had created it. In San Bernardino, just before dawn, 4 Blackhawks fast-roped onto the roof of a 60,000-square-foot warehouse. The moment agents' boots hit the steel, Sinaloa's hired guns opened fire. The rooftop instantly erupted into chaos. Tracers streaked through the dark sky. Snipers on the helicopters returned fire and rounds rained down like burning meteorites. Breach teams rappelled down the walls as fentanyl chemical smoke billowed out. Inside, nearly a ton of precursors was hidden in barrels labeled industrial solvent. AK-47s roared through the loading bay as the cartel attempted to encircle the agents. 13 minutes of hell ended when an MRAP smashed through the east wall with a deafening roar, pitting the last of the gunmen to their knees amid piles of scalding brass. At the same moment, up in the Malibu hills, the Solaris Fortress mansion emerged from the early mist. Steel doors, bulletproof glass, and an underground tunnel system had transformed it into an impenetrable bunker. The instant SWAT breached the gate, 16 mercenaries on the balcony unleashed a storm of AR-15 fire. Flashbangs detonated and granite shattered into jagged fragments. Agents advanced slowly, yard by yard, taking cover behind marble columns and overturned tables as smoke filled the air. High above, thermal drones tracked figures fleeing into the underground tunnels. The FBI assault team pushed deeper into the narrow corridors, their guns roaring non-stop, surrounded by flickering security monitors and money-counting machines still spinning wildly. Solaris was dying, its final stronghold crumbling from within. By noon, the cold tally was in 287 and cuffs, 3.4 tons of narcotics, $27.8 million in cash and gold, 202 firearms, and 1 server farm containing the living memory of Solaris. In just 6 hours, California's underworld had been dismantled more thoroughly than in the previous 6 years combined. As the smoke cleared and the guns fell silent, every commander knew this was not the end. As digital forensic experts began dumping the data from Malibu and San Bernardino onto screens, the true scale of the operation became horrifyingly clear. This wasn't just cooperation with the cartel, it was a complete criminal infrastructure designed by Governor Cortez himself, woven so tightly into the state's administrative bloodstream that it had become a malignant tumor impossible to excise. At 9:14 a.m. inside the FBI Los Angeles office, the Solaris command log lit up the giant screen like a symphony of crime. Governor Cortez wasn't a passive player, he was the conductor. He had personally signed 46 temporary border relaxation orders, each one strategically timed to open the gates for Sinaloa convoys, allowing them to slip through without encountering a single checkpoint. Routes timed, security details. Everything was annotated by his own hand with the meticulous precision of a routine government calendar. Every administrative coincidence led to another massive shipment of methamphetamine cocaine precursors or cash flowing seamlessly into California through official state channels. Solaris wasn't just manipulating the government had become Solaris. Even more horrifying was the revelation that 63 California Highway Patrol officers, personally handpicked by Cortez, were paid between $12,000 and $22,000 a month through the governor's own charity funds. Their job to escort convoys, divert traffic, and stall their fellow officers whenever cartel trucks were on the move. 19 border agents were paid up to $50,000 per shift to open green lanes, allowing trucks loaded with precursors and fake pills to sail through without a single question. Offshore debit cards bearing the Solaris logo were handed out like company perks. Cortez's fingerprints were everywhere. Encrypted recordings captured his calm voice discussing supply chain disruptions with Sinaloa lieutenants whenever a raid was imminent, as if he were managing a legitimate corporation rather than orchestrating the largest drug empire on the West Coast. The final recording was the most damning. Cortez's own voice, calm and collected, ordering the transfer of medical supplies into a disguised fentanyl factory, using state emergency funds to purchase signal jammers so Sinaloa convoys could operate in total radio silence. Over the course of 36 months, $118.7 million flowed directly into his personal accounts. California hadn't been infiltrated by the cartel. It had become Sinaloa's safest territory on Earth, shielded by executive orders and funded by taxpayer money. At noon, the war room fell into a heavy, stunned silence. The evidence lay before them, sharp and undeniable. To destroy Solaris, they no longer just had to fight the cartel. They had to take down the man in the governor's chair, the one who had transformed an entire state into his personal weapon. If the governor himself was the Sinaloa boss, who the hell in government could you still trust? At 1447, unmarked black vans rolled up quietly in front of dozens of California police stations. Doors swung open and federal agents stepped out, arrest warrants in hand. No sirens, no warnings, only the cold metallic click of figure-8 cuffs. In downtown Los Angeles, 3 sergeants, once awarded medals for outstanding service, were marched down the hallway under the stunned stares of their own colleagues. In San Diego, a patrol captain was pulled from his command desk the moment his radio logs matched Sinaloa truck routes down to the minute. Bakersfield, Stockton, Orange County, the same scene unfolded everywhere. Men who had sworn to uphold the law now knelt in the middle of their own headquarters. Operation Clean Slate had begun. Solaris had already lost the streets. Now it was about to lose every last uniform that had shielded it for years. It wasn't petty bribes, they were on a fixed payroll. $10,000 a month in training stipends from funds personally signed off by Cortez. In Orange County, an entire strategic planning unit was cuffed right in the briefing room the moment their fake patrol grid was exposed. 27 times they had accidentally pulled units away exactly when Sinaloa convoys rolled through. In San Diego, the deputy chief of police was hid at his own desk. Drawers were yanked open, 5 burner phones, 2 offshore cards, and a notebook listing 11 officers by name detailing their exact roles inside Solaris. As the figure-8 cuffs snapped shut, he whispered, "You have no idea who really runs California." Corruption didn't stop at the police. 7 California judges were quietly walked out in cuffs, their records revealing they had slashed sentences for Solaris kingpins in exchange for millions funneled directly into Cortez's campaign funds. In Sacramento, 14 state legislators were marched out of the Capitol building in handcuffs for signing oversight waivers on infrastructure projects that were in fact hundreds of miles of drug corridors. The biggest shock, however, was the human toll. In San Bernardino, a 22-year veteran detective collapsed in the hallway when the lieutenant who once took a bullet for him was dragged away. "He saved my life," he choked out. I never thought the man wearing the same badge would sell all our souls to Sinaloa. In a single day, the faith of thousands of honest cops was shattered, all without a single shot fired. As night fell, the final count was ice-cold: 41 state officers, 19 federal employees, and 7 high-ranking officials cuffed and marched away under flashing lights. The entire background check system was torn open and rebuilt from scratch, and internal audits spread like wildfire through every agency. Only one message still echoed through the halls of power: if the badge had been turned into a weapon, then the badge would be reforged from the ashes. When the last click of cuffs faded, analysts returned to the still beating heart of Solaris, the terabytes of data from Malibu and San Bernardino. What filled the screens was no longer mere state-level corruption. It was the blueprint of a continent-spanning drug empire, with California just the first polished jewel ready for its crown. And in that moment, everyone knew the real game had only just begun. At 6:40 in the evening, inside a secure underground room at the FBI Los Angeles field office, analysts projected the full Solaris master diagram onto a 40-foot digital wall. Nodes and financial pipelines sprawled across the western United States, weaving together like a vast, intricate spiderweb. At the glowing red center, one single title pulsed with the force of the empire's heartbeat: Solaris Corp Western Distribution Authority. It wasn't a code name. It was a charter of dominion. And Governor Cortez wasn't just a participant, he was its architect. He was the director. The ledgers revealed that over the past 2 years, 82% of all fentanyl entering the West Coast had moved through routes controlled by Solaris. This operation wasn't confined to Los Angeles, it sprawled across the region. Into Nevada, where Cortez tapped a network of trucking contractors linked to Las Vegas nightlife groups. Into Oregon, where green energy grant programs masked the import of precursor chemicals. Into Arizona, where bribed highway inspectors cleared Sinaloa shipments under the guise of agricultural cargo. Solaris wasn't just a cartel, it was an empire woven seamlessly into the very fabric of the West. A separate folder labeled Transit exposed a staggering truth. Solaris had the infrastructure to move 2.5 tons of narcotics every single week without ever triggering a single automated alert. Shipping manifests were rewritten at origin points. Trucking logs were altered before drivers even started their routes, and temporary way stations were conveniently shut down for maintenance at the exact moments convoys passed through. But perhaps the most chilling were the direct communications between Cortez and Sinaloa's logistics directors, dozens of messages disguised as policy memos or routine state directives. Each one a thread in the web linking the highest levels of power to the darkest corners of transnational crime. A file labeled Water Conservation Strategy 14B was revealed to be a covert routing plan for smuggling precursor shipments through agricultural zones. Another file, titled Homeless Relief Distribution, detailed how fentanyl tablets could be concealed inside donation pallets shipped through Solaris-controlled nonprofits. The financial analysis was equally staggering. Over the course of 30 months, Solaris had laundered $1.2 billion through downtown Los Angeles real estate developments, renewable energy investment funds, and luxury hotel projects. These operations weren't just criminal, they were intricately woven into the fabric of the state's economy, shielding Solaris from detection while fueling its expansion. Each transaction had been sliced into microsegments routed through foreign accounts in Cyprus, Belize, and Malta before looping back into California disguised as legitimate international investment. But the true horror lay in the last decrypted file, Phase 7 Regional Stabilization. It laid out Cortez's long-term objective to transform California into Sinaloa's primary manufacturing and distribution hub within the United States, not just a gateway, but a permanent headquarters shielded by political legitimacy and infrastructure dominance. That revelation sent chills down the spines of even the most hardened investigators. Solaris wasn't just a cartel pipeline, it was a calculated systemic takeover of the state itself. It was a parallel government, one built in the shadows, engineered through power and shielded by the very man elected to lead the state. As the agent stared at the glowing map, one truth reverberated through the room like a warning shot. California hadn't merely been infiltrated, it had been rebuilt for the cartel's future, and the war to reclaim it had only just begun. When the final servers were seized and the last convoy stopped, one truth stood above everything else. The fight wasn't just about taking down a cartel, it was about taking back an entire state from the grip of corruption that had rotted it from within. Power doesn't need violence to destroy a state, it only needs silence. Solaris didn't thrive because the cartel was unstoppable, but because those in positions of authority chose comfort over duty, ambition over integrity. The consequences have torn California apart. Investigations have been reopened into infrastructure funds, environmental grants, and nonprofit programs that had quietly morphed into cartel pipelines. Entire departments have been forced into emergency audits, and the state now finds itself grappling with a systemic rot that runs deeper than anyone ever imagined. What once seemed like a distant threat has now become an undeniable reality, one that demands accountability at every level. The greatest lesson from the Solaris nightmare is this: power doesn't need bullets to kill a nation. It only needs the silence of good people. Corruption doesn't begin with millions of dollars, it starts with a nod, a glance away, a signature that makes it legal. When citizens stop watching, stop asking questions, stop demanding transparency, traitors wear suits instead of prison jumpsuits. California nearly fell to the cartel not because Sinaloa was too strong, but because too many chose comfort over responsibility. Always remember, your vote is stronger than any bullet, but only if you stay awake. Solaris wasn't just a drug pipeline, it was a shadow government that almost swallowed California whole. Today it has been smashed, but the cost has been steep: thousands of lives lost to fentanyl and the shattered trust of an entire state. The question left for all of us is this: if the man at the very top sold out his own people, who the hell is left to protect us? Drop a comment. Where do you think corruption like this is still hiding? Who will be the next Cortez? Like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the truths they try to bury. We can't stay silent anymore.